What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of No Reserves Football. I, as always, am your host, Angelo, and I am joined here, as always, as Alex. What is going on, Alex?
Hey, how's everyone doing, guys? Joined here by Angelo, and we're gonna do a small little episode about the AFC predictions.
The AFC predictions. So, full disclosure, we actually gave each other our predictions, and there are a lot of discrepancies between us, and I was actually very surprised on that.
Yeah, a few that usually pop out. We shared lists like a few minutes ago, so we are still like interpreting those. But yeah, a few really pop off the eyes when we look at it.
So, a few news things to talk about. Micah Parsons apparently is strive for greatness has been a problem because he's been dominating people in Cowboys camp. And Dak Prescott said the offense from last year and this year looks night and day as far as an improvement, which, that could be players speak, coach speak, but that's always a good sign, especially considering I don't think Dallas's offense was particularly bad last year. It was really good.
It was just punished by the turnovers. That was the big thing last year. That couldn't keep those under control. So that's probably what he really needs to work off this offseason.
Yeah, so maybe he has a little bit better connection and he knows where his wide receivers are going to be at a given point, so he knows where to place the ball, and that'll hopefully limit the turnovers. So Dalvin Cook, another news bit. Dalvin Cook apparently only has one team he's interested. Do you think that's the Jets or do you think that's the Dolphins? Because I think
Uh,
it has to be one of those two, right?
yeah, as I said last week, I still think it's the Dolphins. I don't think it's the Jets. Now the Jets are starting to show some interest in like Zeke, and there's no contract talk between Dalvin Cook and the Jets so far. From what we learned, I think it was yesterday that I saw a tweet about it. So yeah, I still think it's gonna be the Dolphins when all said and done.
So, and I agree. So let's start off the list.
Oh, that
And
was a piece of news that I wanted to talk about here at the start.
sure, sure.
It was like TJ Hawkinson. Hawkinson has been not practicing as of late. It's unsure if it's contract stuff or it's injury stuff, but apparently there was some talks about him wanting a longer term deal. So maybe something to keep an eye there.
Yeah, especially considering that offense is normally really good, and Hawkinson, if I'm not mistaken, is at least in fantasy is one of the top tight ends going off the board, and he had a really good season last year. So
Once he got moved to the Vikings, he was a big piece of that offense.
he kind of made it so it wasn't always just 1-2 throw it to Justin Jefferson, although that still just works. Justin Jefferson is like a mini cheat code out on the field. He is. All right. So I'm going to start with the AFC East because I was actually, A, it's the top when you do the predictions things, and B, I think it was interesting because we actually have two different division winners here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off, and I'm going to say off the bat my predictions because I have Miami as the top team going 13-4 and actually being the 1 seed. And my prediction on that has to do because the case for it is obvious, right? They have Tyreek Hill, they have Jalen Waddle, they have a crazy offense. They drafted I can't say this rookie's name. Akane. I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry.
Oh, live on a chain.
A chain. Yes, that is it. And they're rumored for Dalvin Cook. They played amazing last year. I think the case for the Dolphins not being good this year is you assume that Tua gets hurt again or he suffers another concussion. And I just didn't feel right being like, yeah, but if Tua gets another concussion or two, that's like his career. And I didn't feel right about that. So I had the Dolphins going 13-4. I had the Bills in second going 11-6. I had the Jets going 11-6, and I don't think Mac Jones is right. I think the Patriots are still in the basement, and they finished 4-13.
Okay, so we agree there. We both have the Patriots as the last team in the division, but
Yeah.
like 4-13 to me, it's way too low for a Bill Belichick coach team. I have them going 8-9. I think they don't make the playoffs. They are not a playoff team, but I think they make improvements from last year. They have an actually offensive coordinator right now, Will Bill O'Brien. I know he's the butt of some jokes because of the whole DeAndre Hopkins situation done
Yeah.
in Houston.
Yep.
But I think he's actually a pretty good coach, and I think he will strive again as an offensive coordinator. I just don't think they catch because they lack the talent offensively, so I don't think they catch up to the
So,
Bills and the Dolphins.
so
Um,
here's my question then, because
yes,
the difference between you and me is 4 wins. You have them going 8-9. I have them going 4-13. So they play 2 games against the Bills. They play 2 games against the Dolphins, and they play 2 games against the Jets. Where are they getting these 8 wins for you? Like, what is your argument? Are they going to beat each of those teams once? Like, what's going to happen?
yes, that's actually what I have. I have them going 3-3 in the division. Actually, I have every team going 3-3 in the division. Uh, yeah.
That's funny.
So I think they will be able to split some of those games because they will still rely on that defense. It was pretty good. I think that defense is pretty good. Um, and they will build on top of that. And I mean, offensively, they won't be like that high-powered offense. I think they will be a run-heavy team, make the passes when they're needed, convert those big third downs, and keep the offense on the field a bit more. And eventually, they'll grind out some wins and end up 8-9, around 500. Because I don't think a Bill Belichick coach team will ever finish that low. He is just that good of a coach. And Mac Jones, you know that I always liked Mac. I think he got a bad rap last year. All of that talk about like the Bailey Zappi and so on being the solution. I never thought that was actually the case because everything that Bailey Zappi was doing, Mac Jones could do as well and maybe even do it better than Bailey Zappi. And Mac Jones can do things that Bailey can't. So I think the immediate success that you saw with Bailey Zappi was part of Matt Patricia just adjusting that offense and bringing it down to what like Mac ran the year prior. So that's why you saw better results from Zappi when he got in the field.
I agree with that, but here's the thing: like, defenses regress eventually, and usually it's quickly. And I'm honestly surprised with how consistent the Patriots defense has been over the years. That to me is really Bill Belichick's, like, what makes him a great coach. It's his consistency on the defensive side of the ball. But you still need offense, and there's only so many games you can win when you have the fourth best quarterback in the division, right or wrong.
That is true. Yes, quarterback is always the big factor, isn't it? And of course, that's why I'm putting him last in the division,
Right.
um, because of the quarterback. But I think they'll make some of those things work. I mean, he made it work with like Matt Castle, for example, at the time when Brady was down with the injury. Uh,
He didn't play in a division with the three best quarterbacks in the well, three of the best quarterbacks in the AFC at
I don't
the time.
think three of the best quarterbacks in the AFC though. Are there
That's
like
true.
how,
Burrow and Mahomes, but I mean,
how many of those QBs are in the top five of the AFC?
Burrow, Mahomes, one at least. So I guess then your question would be: do you have Rodgers, Tua, or do you have Herbert? God, at least two of them have to be. Because after Herbert, I'm drawing a blank on the top.
More?
Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence. So I guess the question is: do you have Rodgers and Tua, or do you have Trevor Lawrence, and do you have?
I think the top five should be Mahomes, should be Burrow, should be Allen, should
And
be
then
Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert.
Lamar Jackson. Really?
Yeah, I think Lamar is poised for a big year. And
That's interesting.
you know I'm not the biggest Lamar fan.
I think my case for it without putting Rodgers or Tua up there would be Mahomes, Allen Burrow. That's not a debate. I think the two would after it would have to be Herbert and Trevor Lawrence, not Lamar. But I mean it's just a difference in taste, I guess.
Yeah, I think we're undermining Lamar here a bit. I think he can. I mean, he won an MVP, so I think he's a pretty good QB and should be a top five QB in the AFC.
Yeah, maybe I am.
You're forgetting
Speaking
about how good he is.
so speaking of Lamar, let's go to my division where the Bengals lie, the AFC North. And I have the Bengals winning the division, going 12-5. I have the Browns actually finishing second at 10-7. That's probably one of my comeback teams, other than another team we're going to talk about later. The Steelers going 9-8 because I don't think I remember them finishing below 500 ever, and the Ravens finishing 8-9 and actually being the fourth team in the AFC North. So who do you got? We'll talk about why I did what or predicted what I predicted.
Yeah, on my end, I have the same exact division winner. I have the Bengals going 12-5. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
then I have the Ravens going 11-6. Then I have the Browns going 9-8, but missing the playoffs. And then I have the Steelers going 7-10. I think it's one of the better divisions in football. It's a competitive division. Steelers draw the short end of the stick here. But our biggest difference is probably the Ravens at this point. I
Yeah.
have been going with three more wins than you have right now.
Yep. So the reason I have the Ravens, and maybe this is an oversight, but I have heard Lamar and the Ravens talk about them wanting to pass more. And I don't think Lamar is a bad passer, but I do think that comes with inherently more risk as far as turnovers, as far as productivity. Like, how do you, I guess, how do you rewire yourself from being a run first quarterback to being someone who's going to throw back and sling it, you know, 30, 40 times a game? I think there's going to be turnovers with that because you have to be more on par with your wide receivers. You have to know where they're going. You have to know where to place that ball. And I don't think Lamar's a bad passer, but I don't think Lamar is Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or Josh Allen.
Yeah, I agree. He's not that type of thrower, but I think he's a good thrower nonetheless. He has a good touch on the ball. He makes the plays count, and I think it won't be as run heavy as before, but he will still incorporate that part of the game. And with Todd Monken, I think he will design an offense that will suit Lamar, and will get the wide receivers open to complete those passes. I think it will be an high-powered offense, and that's
So
why I have them going 11-6.
so here's my question. Here's my question. So you're gonna give Lamar more volume passing. Who is the best wide receiver? Who is gonna finish as Lamar's top receiver when the season's done then? With the more volume.
I think it will be Zay Flowers.
You think it will be Zay Flowers?
Wide receiver, yes. If we're talking wide receivers alone, I think it will be Zay Flowers.
I think you're I think you're oversighting something because the way I've heard Lamar talk, and for as long as he has worked with Lamar, it has to be Rashad Bateman, dude.
Rashad Bateman is currently injured, dude. I don't think Rashad Bateman will be. You know that I was never a big Rashad Bateman fan, and now Lamar is developing good connections with Zay and OBJ. So I think it will definitely be Zay and OBJ as the one and two for Lamar. Then Mark Andrews as well, mixed in at the tight end position. And Zay Flowers, I mean, right now he's getting some treatment shots for fixing his back injury, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think Bateman will be much involved. Maybe,
Wow.
yeah, I don't think. I think maybe like around 600 yards. So clear wide receiver three for me in the Ravens.
Oh my God. I don't think you're giving Bateman enough credit. So the Browns going 10-7. I think that because Deshaun wasn't a terrible quarterback before the huge suspension and before he missed, what was it, 2 years of football? Did he miss a year or did he miss 2 years of
No, it
football?
was 1 year and 12 weeks basically. He basically missed
Okay.
the whole year with Houston, and then missed like the first 12 weeks of the season with Cleveland.
Okay. So he essentially missed 2 seasons.
Essentially,
I
yeah.
don't think I don't think Deshaun is gonna be as terrible. He can't be. He can't be as terrible as we saw him in the final like 4 or 5 weeks with the Browns. And the Browns defense, regardless of what you want to say about it, has Miles Garrett, and it's legit. I don't see, but that's the thing. I don't see how it happens every year. I don't see how the Browns, with the roster they have constructed, consistently underperform. I don't see it. They have Nick Chubb. They have Amari Cooper. They have a decent offensive line. They have Miles Garrett and a great defense. Denzel, I don't see how they consistently underperform every year. I
I,
don't see it.
Right now, I have them going 9-8. I think they will improve from last year. I don't think what we saw last year will be what we will see from now on, because we have like 2, 3 years of Kevin Stefanski off. We have 2.5 years of a Kevin Stefanski offense, and like half a season of that with Deshaun Jackson. And in 2.5 years, he made good offenses. So I think it was more the rust in Deshaun. I never expected anything last year. He was just
Hmm.
getting those jitters out of the way. So I think it will be a better offense. It will run by Nick Chubb. Maybe we'll finally see some pass catching from Nick Chubb this year. And on defense, they got Darius Smith now to pair up with Miles Garrett. So I think it will be a good team. They also added Elijah Moore to the wide receiver core. So I think it will be a good team. I don't have them going to the playoffs, but that's because I have a very strong AFC. So I think they miss out just barely.
I think the AFC is strong too, but I think the Browns could take a few games, especially in the division. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I have them going 9-8, 3-3 in the division as well. Just missing some of those key wins, especially down the line, because they face like their last two games are the Jets and the Bengals. Those are sometimes tough, and then last 5 games they face also the Texans, the Bears. So those are more achievable. And then the Jaguars. So I have them going 3-2 in that stretch, and those are the last pieces that they are missing to make the playoffs. Like if they went 4-1 or 5-0, they would be in the playoffs.
I think they're gonna surprise you. That's just me. Well, but then again, surprise you is getting one more win. So, so
Make
I
it.
think I think the Browns are gonna surprise a lot of people this year. That's
Yeah.
just me. The Steelers, it's more on their defense. I don't know how much faith I have in Kenny Pickett, and I don't know how much faith I have in the offense. I think the best part about the offense for the Steelers is the weapons. I think the offensive line is not what the offensive line I think about when I think of the Steelers. I think it's very average to below average, and that's being nice. I
Yeah,
just
it's
I just
not
think you
good.
have Pat Fryermuth, you have George Pickens, you have Deontay Johnson. I think that's the key. But I don't. How do you feel about Kenny Pickett? I don't know how I feel about Kenny Pickett going into year two.
Uh, I like Kenny Pickett. I don't love Kenny Pickett, but I like Kenny Pickett. I think if you get, but my main issue with the Steelers is Matt Canada is still there. I think he's right now he's the worst offensive coordinator in the league. I think someone like Brian Dable would really unlock Kenny Pickett like he did with Daniel Jones, an offensive coordinator like that, more offensive, with brighter ideas. Not calling Matt Canada dumb. He achieved more than I probably ever will. But I don't think he's the best offensive coordinator in the game. And that's what will hinder them in the end. I think Kenny has a lot of untapped potential. He can be that like dual type QB. He has a lot of mobility and could really have some Daniel Jones like seasons from last year. But I don't think it will be this year. I think they will finish around 7-10. 7-8 win team, and eventually they will end up firing Matt Canada, in my opinion.
You think Matt Canada goes this year?
Yeah, but I also thought he should have gone last year, and he didn't. But yeah,
It's kind of hard to justify firing someone when you're winning football games. That's kind of the thing is I don't think like we look at how good an offense is or how good a defense is. I think we more or less look at the results. And you won more games than you lost is the result most people will take.
yeah, that offense was just putrid to me. It was,
It was.
it was, and it part of it was with this Mitch Trubisky being the QB for as long as he was. But yeah, the main root of the problem to me is Matt Canada, and that's why they will still be missing the playoffs and be a sub 500 team. But I have them close. I have them 7-10. I think the offense will be underachievers, but it will show you some things that should be pretty good for the future. And Kenny Pickett will show some improvement from last year.
All right, let's move on to the AFC South,
Yes,
where I think no, this was the one where I have the dumpster fire teams and you don't. Okay, so I have the Jags going 12-5 and winning the division again.
exactly.
And I think Trevor Lawrence continues his trajectory. I have the Tennessee Titans going 8-9, and then I have the Texans going 4-13, and the Colts going 3-14.
Yeah, we have the same division winner here. I have them going 10-7, the Jags. Things change after that. I have the Titans win one more win. I have them 9-8, missing the playoffs still. Then I have the Colts going 7-10, and then I have the Texans going 5-12. I think Trevor Lawrence takes yet another step towards being like that great QB.
I do.
But
I think you regret not having him top 5 and putting Lamar there at the end of the season. That's what I think. But we'll see.
I think you will need a proper alpha wide receiver to do that.
You don't think Calvin Ridley could be that?
I mean, a Calvin Ridley who hasn't played in 2 years, I'm not sure if it will be the answer here. And last time he played, I mean, I think we all have this perception that Calvin Ridley is like a great wide receiver because of what he did in the last season that he played fully. But
It was a high volume offense. It was Matt Ryan's if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that Matt Ryan's career year, his MVP year?
Yeah, I think it wasn't the MVP year, but it was a very high-powered offense where Matt Ryan I think led the league in passing, and Julia Jones was out for most of the season. So yeah, it was mostly a volume thing for Calvin Ridley, and he wasn't really that efficient from most analytics. So yeah, I don't think Calvin Ridley is the answer here for the proper alpha wide receiver. So yeah, I have them going 10-7. I don't think they make anything in the playoffs. Maybe one and two.
I think the offense makes a huge leap this year compared to last year.
I just don't see it. I don't like Travis Etienne. I like
just based on Trevor Lawrence getting another year under his belt. Like every year, I've seen Trevor Lawrence get better. Every single year, and I don't know if that trend's just going to stop. That Trevor Lawrence is what he is this year, last year. I don't know. I just give him a little bit more credit than that. I think Christian Kirk is a good wide receiver. I think even if Calvin Ridley isn't an alpha, he is someone that Trevor will be able to just chuck it up to, and he'll come down with it. And that I think that alone will improve the points the Jags scored this year. But go on.
But I also agree that it will improve. I just don't think it will be one of those elite QBs. I think you will need that proper alpha like a Jamar Chase to come around and give him that weapon. So yeah, I think we both like the Jags a bit. You're just a bit more bullish on them than I am.
So why do you think the Colts won't be a dumpster fire?
Because I like Anthony Richardson.
So here's my question, because we went through this discussion last year, and granted we weren't on air last year, but I was a fan of what Justin Fields could be. Granted, Anthony Richardson is faster, stronger, and he probably has a stronger arm than Justin Fields. But how can you not like what Justin Fields brought to the table for the Bears last year, or I believe it's 2 years ago now, but you love what Anthony Richardson brings to the Colts?
Because I like him more as a prospect. I think
Why?
he is not as refined as Justin Field was when he came out of college, but I think he's a truly a cheat code of a QB. I think he will be faster. He will be stronger. He will be much more like a Cam Newton, and he has that cannon of an arm. I think he has better weapons around him right now. At tight end, he has Jelani Woods, Kyle Granson. At wide receiver, he has Michael Pittman. He has Josh Downs.
You think those are better weapons? Well, granted, it's the Bears we're comparing it to, so.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields has had what, like for most of the season, he had the old man Willis Jones, and he had Darnell Mooney,
And
and he then had like the 6 foot what 8'9" who plays like a 5'11" guy in Chase Claypool. So yeah, I think he has better weapons around him. I think the O-line is better. I think the coach is also better. He's a more offensive coach, I believe. Um,
but do you know what he doesn't have right now?
what doesn't he have?
Jonathan Taylor. And that's a problem.
That's a problem. That's true. And I said in the last episode that I don't think Jonathan Taylor will play this year. Uh, but we're also getting to a point where running backs are highly replaceable. So maybe you won't miss him. Maybe. They also signed Kenyon Drake right now. Maybe it's the Kenyon Drake
Are you,
renaissance.
what
Renaissance.
are you what did you just say? Did you just say they signed Kenyon Drake, so it's okay they lost Jonathan Taylor is one of the three best running backs in the NFL.
Yeah, the NFL is telling you that they prefer to sign backups off the street than pay those guys. So maybe they don't value them as much.
Oh my god.
Maybe that's just the mindset that we have to go into this. It's not like big name running back. It's just like, I mean, they have a running back, so whatever. They just play those guys,
If,
and they will eventually make up touches between him, Evan Hall, and like
but
whoever else is remaining, like Zach Moss and so on.
even if you take Jonathan Taylor's ability as a runner out of the equation, he's still a weapon because he's also a receiving threat. So
That's true. But how much will a guy like Anthony Richardson or Justin Fields throw to a running back these days?
oh man, I don't
I
know.
think the
I
answer
think
is pretty much none.
I am like if there's a button that says abort on it, I am pressing abort on the Colts offense at least this year. Like I, I, I don't see where you see 8 wins. I
I have
don't.
7 wins. 7 wins.
Seven. I don't see that. Where do you see 7 wins? Anthony Richardson rushes for 200 yards in 7 games. Where do you see it?
I mean, you know that the NFL is wild here. So I have them with wins over, like, for example, Tampa Bay, coming off of the bye in week 12. I have them with wins over the Saints, week 8.
You mean
Uh,
you mean teams with actual weapons?
I mean, I think the Saints, we'll talk about it in the other episode, but I think the Saints are highly overrated. And
Oh, we're gonna have a heated debate about the Saints. Oh no. Okay.
and Tampa Bay Buccaneers are led by Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask. We are not even sure if Baker Mayfield makes it out of the camp as a starter, according to reports, because Kyle Trask is giving him a run for his money. So, yeah, and I also have them with wins over the Steelers. And to close out the season, I think they will be one of those teams like Miami from a few years prior, that season where they didn't win a game or they won like one game, where you could clearly see some improvement on the team as the year went on. And even though they were losing those games, you could clearly see they were taking a step towards something bigger. And I have them here winning like 3 of the last 4 games. So yeah, I think it will be a young team that will improve as the season goes on, and I think they will eventually end up with 6 or 7 wins.
I don't care what Jim Irsay has accomplished that I haven't. Jim Irsay is a dumpster fire owner, and the Colts are a dumpster fire team, and he has what he deserves right now. And I feel bad for Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I think Anthony Richardson will be fine year one. I think he has better coaching than Justin Fields had when he came into the league, and I think he will develop a bit more due to the weapons and all there's around him. So yeah,
You
I
think
think
your
Anthony
weapons, but
Richardson,
your weapons is Michael Pittman. That's your
Michael
weapons.
Pittman, and Josh Downs. Do not forget Josh Downs.
Who's Josh Downs?
Josh Downs is the wide receiver from North Carolina that they drafted this year as a third round pick. He's more of a slot guy, but my hot take this year on the Colts is that Josh Downs will end up the year as the wide receiver one on the Colts.
I guarantee you. It's just because you and I do Dynasty. I guarantee you, if you ask someone who's Josh Downs, I think if you went to Indianapolis, they still wouldn't be able to tell you.
Don't sleep on Josh Downs, dude. Josh Downs is legit. And then
Okay.
you also have like the second or third round pick that they had last year, Alec Pierce. Yeah, I think that offense is okay, and the
Yes,
defense is
they have
nothing
a
to.
bunch of 6'4" wide receivers. They also have a quarterback who's a rookie, who's primarily a runner, and who had like a 50% throw accuracy in college. This is not going to be what you think it's going to be, my man. This is abort this offense.
And it's like top five throws in college are probably better than any QB's top five throws this year's class. Given it's probably his only good plays are those top five throws, but still, I think he has insane potential.
He does have abort the offense. That's all I'm saying. So
No, Texans. That's a dumpster fire and a half.
there's a reason I projected the Texans to win more games than the Colts.
Yeah, you're just pushing CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
And I still have them with one more win than you, and I don't like the Texans at all. And we're both way too low on the win total here because I think the over on the wins are 6.5, I believe, right now. So we're
on the
both
on the Texans. Just to
yeah
clarify.
on the Texans
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. Oh, maybe we are. Let's move on to the AFC South. That's probably. Oh no, I don't know if I could. There's so many tough divisions in the AFC, man.
It's not the South. It's the
No,
it's the
no,
West.
no. I mean the West. The
Yeah, the
West is
West.
one of the toughest divisions in the AFC. But then I'm looking at the North and I'm looking at the East and I'm like, they're pretty tough too. So I think the AFC is a very, very strong conference overall. But anyway, I have the Chiefs going 12-5. I have the Broncos in a huge bounce back season going 10-7. I have the Chargers matching that and going 10-7, and then I have the Raiders dumpster firing and going 2-15. And if I'm not mistaken, they're projected to get my number one pick.
You're way too low on the Raiders, dude.
I am not way too low on the Raiders.
I gotta say, right now their win total is 6.5. So you
I
have
know.
2-15, dude.
I'm so low. I'm going so low that like it's a lottery ticket at this point. Like I'm saying low, 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 low. Go, 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 go.
Yeah, no,
So
I have them going less in the division as well, but I have them at 6-11. I don't think they will be a great team, but I think it will be a solid offense. Defense will be so and so. I don't
a
like Chandler
solid
Jones.
offense? You think Jimmy Garoppolo, who the last time we looked at him as good, had the highest yak of any quarterback playing at that time. You think Jimmy Garoppolo with Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams, who isn't that big of a yak guy, he's more of a, I'm just going to catch it over you guy. And they lost Darren Waller. Has Josh Jacobs reported? Did they give Josh Jacobs a contract yet?
No, they can't technically give him a long-term contract right now. He either has to sign the tag or sign something like Saquon signed. It's a one-year
Oh
deal,
boy,
like with incentives and so on.
I don't see it. I'm sorry. I think the gap between Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo is a lot bigger than people are giving credit for.
I don't think so, dude. I think they're pretty close as a QB.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I think it will be a solid offense because Jimmy Garoppolo, at the end of the day, is like a 70% win percentage in the league. And yes, some of that is of course Shanahan.
Oh, the 49ers!
Yes, and of course that's part of the equation here. But I think he's a solid QB, and he has weapons here. He has Devontae Adams, he has Jacoby Myers, he has Hunter Renfro that I don't think will make the team though. There's rumors that he will be cut. I think Josh Jacobs ends up playing. Then they have Zamir White as well as a backup, and then they also drafted the tight end, Michael Mayer. So yeah, I think it will be a solid offense. He has some good pieces to work with. Defense
I'm aborting that offense too. Go
defense
on.
is so and so, in my opinion. I don't think they are anything great. I don't like Chandler Jones. Max Crosby is a beast, of course. I'm hoping to see some playing time to Tyree Wilson. He was one of the better prospects in this draft to me.
I just,
But
I don't see where you get the 6 wins again. I don't see it.
I mean, we can go into it.
I don't see where you get Jimmy Garoppolo is only a slight downgrade to Derek Carr, or they're even worse. They're dead. Like what? How?
I think it's a tough division. I think they always give hell to the Broncos.
Bec-
So
Because he won game
I actually
with
have them
with.
going 2-0 versus the Broncos.
Go ahead. Sorry. What about the Broncos?
No, I'm saying they always give them hell to the Broncos as of late. So yeah, I think I have them going 2-0 versus the Broncos inside the division. Then I also have them with wins over the Packers and the Jets. And I think
Yeah. What?
I mean, just going by the weeks and the matches that the Jets have and so on, I think it makes sense.
So you think the Jets and that defense is going to struggle against Jimmy Garoppolo? So what do you think is going to happen? Jimmy Garoppolo is going to score points in the Jets defense, or Aaron Rodgers is going to fail to score points in the Raiders offense or defense? Which one is happening?
A bit of both, I would think.
And of both?
Especially since they're coming off a matchup versus the Chargers the week prior, week 9,
It
and then
was not Herbert. Go ahead. Sorry.
and then they turn around and go play on the Monday Night Football versus the Jets on week 10, versus the Raiders on week 10. Yeah, I think the Raiders will be a sneaky team. They'll get some wins that they shouldn't, and yeah, I mean we're talking of a 4-win difference here. I still have them going 6-11, which is like 35% win percentage. So yeah, just have them going to win 15, which I mean I don't like their head coach. I don't like McDaniels that much, but I think it will be a solid offense. The defense will be the main thing that hurts them, but I think it will be an average offense, I would say.
I think that's that. I got the abort button off. Or I'm pressing the abort button on the Raiders offense. Here's my hot take. Devontae Adams is not finishing the season in a Raiders uniform. There's my hot take.
I could see it, but I think you will finish there. I think maybe next season, if the season does indeed go awfully bad, I think you will find a new team. But as of right now, I think he finishes the season as a Raider. My biggest thing here is that you have the Chiefs losing 5 games. I struggle to
Yeah,
find 5 games that they will lose here.
so with my believe it or not, when I did my predictions, I did okay. I'm gonna give each team either if you're below 500 a BS loss, or if you're above 500, or no, if you're below 500 a BS win, or if you're above 500 a BS loss. And I found that something I found interesting is the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the Bills all play each other this year.
Oh,
So, so I think honestly, I still think Kansas City's offense is going to be amazing. Travis Kelce has to regress at some point, right? Right?
I called this regression like 5 years ago, so I won't ever call this regression again. I'm still
he,
kidding. So
he he has to at some point. That's kind of my thing. And after Travis Kelce begins to regress, who's taking over that production? Is it Sky Moore? Is it Rashid Rice? Is it Kadarius Toney if he's healthy? Who is giving you that production back?
that's a big if Kadarius Toney is healthy. Kadarius Toney
That is a huge if.
never healthy. But yeah, I think the offense wide receiver wise will run with Sky Moore and MVS. Those are reportedly his two biggest targets there so far, and the ones that he has developed a better connection with.
Hmm.
So their offense likely runs through there, but I don't think Kelsey will regress anytime soon. I think he's a really smart player.
Is
He
he
knows
like
how.
34?
I mean, yes, but how many hits does he take? He never takes hits. He knows exactly when to get down. He knows how to get in space and to open up that space for Mahomes. He has amazing field awareness. He knows where everyone is at all time, and that helps him avoiding taking those massive hits. So yeah, I think he will still be a great weapon for them. And he's not like incredibly reliable on his speed or anything like that. It's just more his football awareness, and that takes probably never disappears off a player. So
That's
yeah, I think they will still be the best team in the NFL, and I have them going 14-3. So not a huge difference, but still surprised to see like 5 wins there, 5 losses there for you. And I
shocking
have them
too.
with one less division win as well. You have them 4-2 in the division. I have them 3-3. So yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. I don't think they're going to lose games in the division. I think it's just going to be bogus losses. Like it's going to be games where you're like, oh, the Chiefs should run away with this, and it becomes a harder game than it should be.
I
That's
also like the whole month of December through January. I have them losing one game.
that makes sense.
Yeah, 13-18, weeks 13-18. I have them losing the last game of the season, which is to the Chargers. It's basically a meaningless game for them at that point.
I think I do too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So those are the biggest differences there. Broncos and Chargers. I mean, I have the Chargers with the same record. Broncos losing one more. I don't have the Broncos making the playoffs. The Chargers are making the playoffs though. Sean Payton, I think he will bring new life to the Broncos, but I think
Listen,
some of the issue is with Russ. I don't think Russ
even
will.
even if Russ is an issue, there is no way that the Broncos offense averages like 9 points a game or whatever ridiculous metric it was. Like, there's no way. There is no way that offense does not somehow improve. So unless, good,
Will the defense stay the same though? Because the
that's the
defense
question.
was all-time great.
That's the question.
Yeah, I don't think that defense will carry on that well, because there's some regression due, I believe.
Even if it doesn't, like, I don't know. I don't. The offense was so bad. I don't think even if the defense regresses, that it's necessarily as big of an issue. As long as the offense gets to a stable point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. The team will be better overall. The offense will be better. The defense, I don't think it will be that great as last year. Of course, it will still be a good unit.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be all-time great, but I mean, I have them going 9-8, which is a good improvement from last year.
Hmm.
I just don't think they make the playoffs still. Maybe give them another year with Sean Payton to work things out. But I think the major problem there is Russ. I don't think Russ will be to the level that it was in Seattle. And
Yeah.
until
I don't think he has to be MVP Russ for the Broncos to win 10, 11 games. Can he
I mean,
be?
I am going 9-8, and I'm not saying it will be MVP Russ. So I think it's just the difference of a win there that they won't be ready. Maybe like a last, for example, I have them losing to the Raiders last game of the season, and that's what messes them up.
Yeah.
It
which
will be one of those like really division games. The Raiders have nothing to lose to play for, but they just want to stick up to the Broncos,
I don't think
and
the Raiders will have anything to play for all season. That's just me, though.
they will what?
They won't have anything to play for all season. I think they'll be that bad.
I mean, every team has something to play for in week one.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. So, do you want to jump to the award winners now?
Sure. So we decided to do our split our award predictions and our conference predictions into two brackets, AFC and NFC. And today we're going to do the offensive players and offensive rookies of the year, and the defensive players and defensive rookies of the year. So, would you like to start, or would you like me to start?
I can start right now. I think the defensive player of the year, I'm going with a bit of a shocker here.
Okay.
Someone that would be lesser known, but Jalen Phillips is the edge from Miami. I think the dude that is pretty good. I like him. I like his game. He ranked top 10 in most of the PFF stats that matter actually. So like pressures, sacks, pass rusher performance, he was top 10 in all of them. I really like his game, and I think the defense will improve somehow with Vic Fangio. It will maybe unlock him and give him a good run for his money, and make it a case for defensive player of the year.
See, I generally agree with that, but I just think defensive player of the year usually goes to people who establish themselves as a name. Like, if you look at the previous defensive players of the year, you see people who have established themselves. Aaron Donald, Nick Bosa. I believe Joey Bosa is up there too. But
Yeah.
I think, for me, it has to be like an edge rusher who goes bonkers. That's usually how defensive player of the year works. And believe it or not, I think Myles Garrett's going to get it. I think the Browns are going to have a comeback season. I think Myles Garrett's going to get defensive player of the year.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah, my guy is like a 50-1 type of player. He's an edge that is going into his third season. So yeah, of course it's a long shot, but I really like his game, and he has a lot of advanced analytics that back him up. So yeah, it's just about a name thing, but if he makes a name for himself, it's a big market in Miami, so I could see the narrative starting to pick up steam in the media. But yeah, of course, Miles Garrett is also it's a worthy candidate, of course.
Yeah, no, I think I think defensive player of the year in that sense is a little bit boring because like
It's a popularity contest.
you give it, yeah, exactly. You give it to the players you know.
Yeah, I agree. Defensive rookie of the year right now, I have Devin Witherspoon, the Seattle Seahawks cornerback, winning it. I mean, I think the dude is the best corner in this draft, and Pete will coach him up. And in that scheme, maybe he can replicate some of the things that Tariq Woolen did last year. That should be the worthy winner of last year Defensive Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. But I'm biased, of course. I'm a Seahawks, yeah, I'm a Seahawks fan. And yeah, I think Devin Witherspoon will be that guy. I think he proved it in Illinois that he was that guy. So yeah, I think it will translate well to the NFL, and I see him having a good shot as well as to winning it.
For me, I went with the obvious choice, which was Will Anderson. He was the Texans' top pick, and he was the best graded pass rusher coming out of the draft. I think he will have maybe not a monster season, but he will have a good rookie season, and he will come away with it.
Yeah, and he will have plenty of chances to play.
Yeah,
It should be slotted in as a starter. That team doesn't have a lot of talent, so yeah,
but
that's probably the clear cut winner right now. I think he's the betting favorite as well. My guy is like 10-1, but yeah, good choices all around. So jumping into the offensive rookie of the year, I'm going with Jordan Addison. I think he will have the chance. That's the main thing with a rookie is him getting a chance. I think he could be slotted in for 80 to 100 targets. In a good offense overall, the Vikings offense, it will be a volume based offense. A lot of open targets from Adam Thielen. Even with Hawkinson having a better role this year, a bigger role this year, Jordan Addison will still be a major factor in my opinion. And yeah, I could see him. I could see him making a run for it. He's 17-1 right now to win it, and I think he's a good dark horse winner.
Yeah, I don't mind Jordan Addison as a pick. Me, personally, I think that with all the talk that the um, Falcons have done with Bijan Robinson, I think it has to be Bijan. The owners and the coaches are talking about Bijan like he's about to become the next coming of running back Jesus. Like, they're just going to give him all these touches. He has to. Like, he's going to have the most opportunity of any rookie other than, like, Bryce Young or one of the quarterbacks. Like, it has to be him, right? Right?
Yeah, I think he has the better odds to win it right now. I think he will have insane volume. Mostly as a rusher. I don't think he will get many receiving.
Because Cordell Patterson is still there.
Yeah, Cordell Patterson and Tyler Algier are still there, and Desmond Ridder is not like I don't think he will throw many passes to the running back. So yeah, I think he's the odds-on favorite and rightfully so. And yeah, maybe it's more of a team thing. Maybe Bijan can also has a slight edge over Jordan Edison because I believe the Falcons will do better than the Vikings, but we'll leave that to the next episode. So yeah, I could definitely see that. As for offensive player of the year right now, my pick is actually a dark horse candidate here, but Darren Waller, I think.
Darren
Uh,
Waller?
Darren Waller, exactly, is like 125 to 1 to win it. But yeah, the reports out of Giants camp is that he's a menace right now. He can't be guarded. I know we hear that all the time in camp. Everyone is hard to guard without pads. Um, but yeah, I think the offense will run mostly towards Waller. The big thing here is injury. As long as he doesn't get injured, I think the offense will run more towards him, and he will have a very good season. He's also a dark horse candidate for comeback player of the year, but we'll talk about that next episode. But yeah, I really like him, and I think he will be the focal point of that Giants offense. So yeah, a small dark horse here, 125 to 1. But yeah, I really like him as a player and as a fantasy option this year.
To go with a homer pick, unfortunately, I think it's going to be Jamar Chase.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could
Like,
definitely see that as well.
like, like there is a low key chance the Bengals offense just goes bonkers this year and Joe Burrow throws for like 50 touchdowns. I'm not sure how likely that is to happen, but if something like that happens, it's Jamar Chase. Like,
Yeah, he's also in the running, of course. Him, Justin Jefferson, and all of those guys. They will always be in the running because it's pretty obvious that they would need something from another world to win the MVP. So they are always in the running from Offensive Player of the Year.
sure.
Well, yeah, it's I think it's the odds-on favorite as well to win.
Okay. I agree with that. So, is there anything you would like to discuss before we get to the closing?
No, I think we addressed all of the points right now, so I think we're good.
I agree with that. So, if you enjoyed, like, subscribe, do the algorithm things. You know what to do. Thank you guys for listening in, and we will see you guys next time on No Reserves Football. Have a great one.
Bye.